Hello and welcome to our podcast, How Are Your Pigeons?, which takes a look at life in the northeast of Scotland through the perspective of myself, Joanna Fraser.
And me, Clare Scott. We take a look at what's going on in the region with suggestions of things to do, places to try and more, with a liberal sprinkling of our opinions, thoughts and views.
Nice.
So, Joanna, how are your pigeons?
Nae bad. After last time in my rather basic research, I have looked up some facts. Apparently, nae bad is a pertinent response. I've doricked up this episode slightly, so you'll be on the edge of your seat waiting for this. And what about yourself, Clare? How are your pigeons?
Well, I have not doricked up properly, so I am just wondering how I should respond. I'm going to say I'm a solid 7 out of 10. And I don't think that's particularly Doric, but I think you'll get my gist.
Anyway, we are both fine. Tell me, Clare, what have you been up to recently?
Well, this episode, I wanted to mention something that I feel is small but important that I've been up to recently. One of the things that I feel is a development area for me is doing things in my local community. It's something that with work and family and friends, many of whom don't live in my immediate community, I'm quite poor at. So I decided to rectify that recently. So as I've mentioned previously, I'm based in the village of Kingswells, and quite recently the village of Kingswells was host to one of the Gathimba Edward Foundation's Safari Series races. Basically a series of semi-competitive but more fun races that take place in the northeast to raise funds for a very good cause, and they needed volunteers to help out with our local one, which was down at Prime 4. There was a 1k race for little people and a 3k race for a bit bigger people, and I got to don my hi-vis vest and be a marshal, and this I feel is a role that I am made for, because you stand, you give encouragement, you cheer, you clap. It was a very uplifting morning. I met lots of people there, some of whom I actually knew already, some of whom I didn't know. And as I say, the foundation does great work. Just to give them a shout out, they do have another event coming up, which is the Mel's Union Street Mile is the next one in the Safari series on Saturday, 29th August. So if you would like to run, or indeed volunteer, I assume, you can still enter, I think, up until 1st of August. So that is my little thing that I've been doing recently that I just wanted to share.
You would be brilliant at that. I can so see you, a cheerleader to the masses. Absolutely amazing. And also, I have seen Gathimba Edwards Foundation, but I've never heard it said, I've just realised. Say it again, you said it properly.
I don't know if I did. I said it a little clumsily. So it's Gathimba Edwards Foundation, and often they'll abbreviate it, I think that even themselves, to GEF. You know, you'll see branding and things round about them. And what they do is they support families in Kenya and indeed here in the northeast Scotland as well. So
fabulous. Your halo is fairly shining, Clare.
Well, it's a really, I don't mean to sound, you know, as if I always do wholesome activities. As I say, part of it with me was I need to do more, so I'm going to do more. But a very accessible way to do it. You're not committing to something every week forever, just a little dipping the toe in the volunteering pool. But I would recommend it to anybody. It was a great fun morning. I was very lucky. The sun shone. The runners weren't quite as keen on the heat as the volunteers were, but we'll gloss over that. Anyway, how about your good self, Joanna?
Oh, nothing as wholesome and volunteery, I would say. Actually, it's summer in Scotland, so it is the time of the agricultural shows and the Highland Games. I was at Drumtochty Games, which is probably a lesser known Highland Games. It's in a beautiful little glen that frankly looks like it should be a film set. Super cute. It has loads of locals and then a smattering of like American tourists, Dutch motorbikers, and yeah, it's absolutely fabulous. In contrast, I was actually at the Royal Highland Show as well recently, which, as you know, is 4 days of fun at Ingliston down near Edinburgh, and it's been going for forever. Basic research still outstanding. It's been going forever, and it is a huge event for the agricultural community of Scotland. I was there and I think I only went for the first time last year. I was absolutely overwhelmed, I would say, by how much there is to see, how much there is to do, how much there is to taste, how many people are there. It's absolutely amazing. So, very much the two sides of the same coin of agricultural shows and Highland Games. The Royal Highland Show that has, I think, 200,000 visitors, paying guests, as it were. And Drumtochty, which has, like, Lawrence Kirk Rotary on the stands and stalls, and you can go and buy Danny's Bees honey, and it's just absolutely the best thing ever. And you sit on straw bales and watch them toss the caber and do absolutely ridiculous things with what look like knives in their boots. I take it it's an equivalent of spikes, so they don't fall over when they're, whatever you do with hammers. You throw hammers, don't you? Hammer throwing. Anyway, this leads to me, and you're going to love this one, Claire. You're going to love this one. We're on to this week's burning question. Obviously, I'm going to tidy that up a little bit.
I like it. I think we've nailed it. Go do that again for me.
I don't know if it's going to have this week's or not. This week's burning question.
There is no expense spared on this podcast, folks.
Anyway, my burning question. My burning question to our lovely listeners is agricultural show, Highland Games. A, did you know there was a difference? And B, which do you prefer? The clue is agricultural shows will have beasties at it. You'll have the coos and the sheep and the horses, whereas at Highland Games, you're more likely to have a big, huge man mountain wearing a kilt, and there being hill races. You'd love it, Claire. Hill races and the like. So, what about yourself, Claire? You got any particular proclivities towards Highland Games or agricultural shows?
Well, you see, I thought you were going to ask that, and I've already been. You said that you felt a little chastened by my volunteering and activity, but I similarly feel rather guilty because I just feel you're oozing Scottishness with what you've been doing recently. I mean, speak about leaning into your heritage. I feel a little bit guilty because I haven't been to Highland Games or an agricultural show, and I need to get them right, for quite some time. I do have memories of being at Keith's show, which I think, given what you've just shared, is something that's definitely the agricultural show with lots of beasties. But I have to say, I didn't really soak it up because I was on one of these stands at it.
See, that's not where you want to be looking at it from.
Where you don't actually get to see everybody else because you're selling the wares of whoever you're working for on the day, shall we say. So I have the main memory I have of is of being worried driving into the exhibitor zone about my car getting stuck in the mud.
Oh, yes, I guess. Whereas I've been going to them since I was about 3, I would imagine. Agricultural shows round Angus, Tayside, Aberdeenshire, you name it, I'll be there. I mark them on my calendar. I am that person.
So it's a key part of your summer. Well, I'm thinking now that I don't, at the moment, have any work-related reason to be there. Maybe I need to go and experience it for fun as a visitor.
I'll drag you along to the Tara show.
And please, because I'm finding it hard to come down on one side because I don't feel I'm well enough exposed to the different events. But do you have a favourite to share with our audience before they tell us which they prefer?
Fond memories, I would say, would make me go slightly towards agricultural shows, possibly. I tell you what, Claire, Tara show, well known for being on a Sunday and a Monday, I believe. I'll drag you up there. We can go to Tara show.
It sounds like a rare day out, I have to say. And please do get in touch with us at howareyourpigeonsne@gmail.com or through the link in the episode bio to tell us whether you prefer a Highland Games or an agricultural show. We'd love to know.
Do you know what, Claire? I've got somebody better to say that.
There's always someone better than yours truly.
Email howareyourpigeonsne@gmail.com.
I think it's time to move on to our indoors-outdoors feature, or Oot and Aboot, where we attempt to link something you can do in the great outdoors with a nearby place of interest, indoors, bearing in mind the vagaries of the Scottish summer. Claire, what have you got for us?
Well, I have quite an interesting indoors outdoors. Well, I think it's interesting, hence I'm sharing it, and I think it's one, Joanna, that you.
We shall be the judge. We shall be the judge.
I think you'll like this one. You'll find out why in a moment. You might not like part one, but you'll definitely like part two, I fear. So
I'm intrigued.
part one, because there's a running theme, pun intended, involves my out and about. Did link an outdoor activity with an indoor activity recently. I went off to Crathes Castle park run the other weekend with a good friend of mine. She did come willingly, not under duress, I would add. So park run, for anybody who doesn't know about the concept, free timed 5k run, volunteer organised, takes place at a huge number of venues throughout not just the country but the world, I believe, on a Saturday morning at 9:30. You pitch up, you run for free, you get a time. It's all very jolly. And Crathes Castle is a beautiful venue to run in. It is also, as we discovered, quite hilly in the heat. But we did that. We were warmly welcomed by the volunteer team, had a great morning, and then we come to the indoors part of the equation. Although it was such a nice day that there was a sort of another element to it. We went across to Milton of Crathes, conveniently located just across the road from where Crathes Castle is.
Oh, now I love a Milton of Crathes.
And we went there to explore. I did have this in mind when I planned the park run. Indeed, I would sort of say that I used it as bait for my friend. There is a little new French deli and cafe there called Maison Castani. So a little slice of La Belle France right in the heart of the northeast. And this has been set up by, I believe, I did a little bit of research before talking to you about this. I believe it's set up by a husband and wife team, but they have done this beautifully. So you have a range of French tasty things that you can eat, range of different kinds of drinks, but there's also a beautiful sort of curated store with nice things to look at and potentially buy. So I timed my arrival at the front of the counter just when they were withdrawing almond croissants, freshly baked from the oven, so it would have been rude not to. But because it was such a nice day, I did say my indoors is a bit of a cheat. We actually sat outside because it's so lovely there by the river and enjoyed.
Oh, listen, grab the chance while you can in a Scottish summer, definitely.
Enjoyed our post-run croissant and drink there. And then I have to give a shout out, because I have a funny feeling you'll be quite interested in this too, that there was another new outlet that had just opened that very day called Yoke. It's a general store, pantry goods and homeware, and it is potentially the most colourful shop I have ever been in. All beautiful, bright things that even if the sun had not been shining, it was a very cheery place with a very cheery owner. So Milton of Crathes, worth a look. Have you been recently?
Well, I've not been recently because there was a shop there I loved called Hidden Scotland. It was full of lots of lovely things. I always say it's things that you don't need but really, really want. That type of shop, you know what I mean? So it disappeared. And I suspect this is very much along the same lines because it sounds totally up my street, Yoke. I also, and something binged in my brain when you mentioned Maison Castani, because the husband behind the husband and wife team of Maison Castani, his dad helped open the Silver Darling and Café Bohème.
This would suggest why the tasty things are so tasty.
I read it in our local paper, the Press and Journal, and it stuck in my head. I was like, exactly as you thought there. I bet it's good. So, right, okay, well, I'm now going to have to schedule in a visit. I was at Crathes a couple of weeks ago because it's just over the hills from me.
Yes, we even did have a little forage round the art gallery there, Milton Art Gallery, I want to say. Very, very nice.
There's a little farm shop type enterprise there too. I don't know if you came across that just round the corner.
Oh, yes, I was in there too, and they had a section with plants outside also. So a delightful morning out, delightful way to spend a Saturday morning, can highly recommend.
It sounds it. I'm going to put it in the diary straight away. And now we're on to what I'm doing right now. And Claire, I promised you to Doric it up. Claire, I want you to look at Fit I'm Doing Right Now. Come on, my Doric's getting better. My Doric is improving.
Something good.
So what have you been up to?
what am I doing right now? Well, not literally, because right now I'm speaking to you, but what I've been doing a lot of recently, and there's a good and a bad side to this, to be honest with you. For probably the first time in my life, and I've been very lucky, I realise now, to have escaped it. I've been suffering with a little bitty of back pain.
Oh.
So
old age doesn't come itself, does it? I'm glad we're not in the same room.
I'm still smiling, just. Everyone to sort of try and be resourceful. I have been trying to do some yoga for my back pain. Now, there's a lovely online yoga teacher who I discovered in lockdown, I think along with half the population, potentially. Yoga with Adrienne. Now, we're both dog owners, so you'll like the fact that her dog occasionally makes an appearance during the videos. But she, lovely woman that she is, actually has specific yoga sessions for back pain. So I have been spending quite a long time, or a lot of time recently, should I say, contorting myself into various positions that are going to ease the back pain, apparently, and I think it's working.
Now, I would have thought you would have been au fait with yoga already, or at least Pilates. No. Is this a gap in Clare's knowledge?
Well, I have been doing yoga, but not specifically for the back pain. So I was quite interested to find out that there is a playlist for people like me, decrepit folk.
So what do they concentrate on? What type of, is it standing or seated or, sorry, I didn't, or recumbent?
A lot of it is actually on your back. If you know about the whole supine twist, things like that, when you feel a little better, there's a rocking thing that you can do, which I couldn't do to start with, but I can again now. So very relaxing, very gentle. She's also very careful with you to say, if this is giving you a little bit of aggro, don't potentially do this yet, etc. So I like her, but I did want to pick your brains, Joanna, because the other thing I was wondering about is, like a lot of us, I spend quite a bit of time sitting on my bahookie in front of a screen, which I don't think is very good for the whole back pain thing. And indeed, I notice it's not good when I stand up after long periods of sitting down. So my question to you is, because I think you have one maybe, standing desks. Is this a good thing? Have you used it to help potentially in the past?
I am a standing desk convert. I really like it. I got a wee bit of RSI up my forearm from using mouse too much or using it wrongly. So yes, I invested in a standing desk at a moderate price from IKEA, and I love it. I have been suffering from a little neck pain recently and did a little bit of research, however, just before everybody goes out and runs and gets a standing desk. And apparently it's not to do with whether you're seated or whether you're standing, it's to do with how long you spend in each position, which I feel really bad because mine moves between sitting and standing, and I never move. I just constantly stand, which I really like because I can move about a little bit. But yeah, apparently you're supposed to, they say an hour, every hour you move between sitting and standing. Oh, it would make me dizzy, Clare. It definitely would.
Thank you for that. And I think when we were speaking about yoga, I could tell that you had some experience of your own to share. Are you a yogi? Please tell.
I wasn't going to jump in and, I tell you, I nearly tried goat yoga, but that's another story for another day. I did stumble across yoga with Adrienne during lockdown, as everybody was browsing for yoga, but I've practiced yoga for over 20 years now. I started in Aberdeen with a brilliant teacher called Fiona Bochel. I will put a shout out for her. She's great, but she's very much of the, now if this is too sore, if this is painful, don't do it exactly as you were saying. I will take any opportunity and I just sit back and go, oh, this hurts too much. I love Iyengar yoga, and my favourite teacher, and he does classes online on Zoom, is Joe Byrne. So he's in Aberdeen, he's Queen's Cross Church and all sorts of places he does. But he is an Iyengar yoga teacher, and I'm sure he won't mind me saying, he's just very, and we do this, he is so supple. And then he kind of just looks at you expectantly, as if there is absolutely no reason you cannot just mirror his efforts. And that's the kind of, not pressure, but that's the approach I definitely need. Because if somebody says now, don't do that if you get a twinge, I can feel the twinge coming on. So I like Joe Byrne, and I like Iyengar yoga. You'll like this because it's like pedant yoga. So you go into a pose and then you think about the pose and is it the right, am I in the right place? Because I went to a yoga festival in Aberdeen years back. I know, a yoga festival. And they had flow yoga and hot yoga and all these things. I tried out and of course they were on like 3 poses and I'm still relaxing into my first pose and working out where all my limbs are. So yeah, Iyengar yoga is the pedant's yoga and it's the one for me.
The name, I'm sorry, but Iyengar yoga is just fantastic.
You are brilliantly looking into doing yoga for back pain. I was like, that's it, I'm going to restart yoga. Looked up the classes and just to start a 2-week holiday. I was like, oh, brilliant, an excuse to get. So I've got another 2-week rest of yoga before they start back after the summer holidays.
Love it.
And we are never stuck for subjects. However, we would love our audience to let us know what they're doing right now, mainly so we can steal their ideas and go and try them ourselves. So if you would like to get in touch, here we go again. Do you want to know how to get in touch, Claire?
Absolutely.
Email howeveryourpigeonsne@gmail.com.
Right, I have implemented a new section. After last week's somewhat badly researched segment by myself, I have got some forgotten facts for you. We were talking, you may remember, Claire, about the coastal path between Inverbervie and Johnshaven. I have looked up how long it was, and it is, you know what, my guesstimate was not that far out. So it's 4.75 miles from Inverbervie to Johnshaven. Therefore, watch my lightning maths, 9.5 miles in total if you go there and back. And if you're of the decimal generation, that's 15 kilometres. A mere scamper for your good self. And do you know what? Since it's along the coast, this is not surprising. The best part, you know my attitude to hills, is the ascent is 31 metres. It's my favourite type of walk, definitely. It's more or less flat.
In that case, I'm only 99 metres ahead of you with Brimmond Hill, which I did look up to see how high it was. And the elevation on the walk of it is 130. So just maybe slightly steeper than your coastal path, but still just as much fun.
100 metres more of it, yeah. That's an elevation. That is an elevation. Oh, that reminds me, Claire. We've got an item from our post bag this week. Are you ready?
I don't know if I'll ever be ready for this, but I'm very excited. Is it our first piece of pigeon post?
It's our pigeon post. I like it. Yes, it's our first piece of pigeon post. I have a message here from a listener who says, and I quote, "I really enjoyed that Joanna's segment from last time. She really knows what she's talking about. She's so enthusiastic and brilliant at everything she says and does." Oh, and I'd like to thank that listener. Thank you very, very much for that complimentary feedback.
Yeah. Now, I don't have access to the post bag, or I wasn't aware of an incoming email. And
Funny that.
while I think it's really lovely that you've been showered with praise, I'm just wondering why it didn't ever come near me. And you know, I'm really pleased that they liked you so much, though.
Oh, no, it's a bona fide person.
Is it? Is it?
Her name is it's Morag McMiddleton.
Morag McMiddle. Morag, thank you if you're
Morag
listening this
McMiddleton.
week.
McMiddleton, get it right.
Oh, apologies, Morag, you're never going to write in and praise me. Well, Morag, thank you for making Joanna's day. I'm sure you'll be writing to us again.
Oh, I have the feeling she might
And
be.
I'll look forward to seeing your next message in the post bag. If you'd like to join in the chat or perhaps send us some feedback about our presenting style, like Morag, please get in touch with us at howeveryourpigeonsne@gmail.com.
And if you'd like to hear our marvellous previous episodes, including the fantastic link about the Inverbervie coastal path, you can find them all on our YouTube channel at How Are Your Pigeons.
And I think that's all we've got time for this week. Thank you for listening.